Slugs and snails, absolute nightmare. What can you do about them? Well, everyone's got a theory. Firstly, eggshells doesn't work, don't bother. Grit might slow them down a little bit. I think that's more to do with a sort of bit of cleanliness might work. The fact that they're quite happy to travel over the sharp edges of grit. If you were a slug or a snail, you could travel over that. What else? Copper. Again, similar sort of idea with that. I don't know, I've not really used copper much myself. It's a pretty difficult thing to do on a grand scale, so I've never tried it, but don't really rate it myself. But if it works for you, it works for you. Pellets does work for me, and I use them in certain areas of the garden when it gets really bad, particularly early, you know, sort of late spring, where putting a lot of stuff out and we don't want to get things decimated. But I'm going to show you on this. I know there's loads of other things, wool and stuff like that, but I'm going to show you something that I know works. I've used it for years. It definitely works, but it's a bit of an unusual thing to do, and I'm going to need this to do it. Don't be scared. This is petroleum jelly, usually just referred to as by the brand name Vaseline in the UK. And what I do is I will take my container or my pot and I will run it around quite liberally around the edge there. You see it there? And you're thinking, what on earth is he on? But it works. The slugs and snails really find it difficult to go over this. It's essentially a barrier to them. And I first started using this, I can't remember who told me, but I was having terrible problems with my hostas. I just couldn't grow hostas because they were just getting decimated no matter what I did. And I thought, well, I'll grow them in pots because at least then I've got a chance. But they were just getting through everything. And although pellets were helping a little bit, they looked a bit unsightly. Not to mention, you obviously worry about what if something like a hedgehog or something eats a slug that's where you've used pellets. So someone told me about this and I thought, oh well, I'm willing to give everything a go, and it works. It really does. The slugs don't want to go over this petroleum jelly. So look, get yourself a small tub. You don't need to get a big tub like this, and just try it on a few things that you know are being hit by slugs and snails and see if it works. One thing I would say is that you've still got entry points through the bottoms sometimes, or it might just be easier, rather than do round the pot and it look unsightly, just do round a saucer and that will do the same trick. The only thing is when it's low down you have to think about it being washed away a bit and perhaps topping it up, but this will generally last the season quite happily, as long as you're not spilling too much water over it. So there we go, slug and snails. Finally solved.